Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my Week 10 previews and analysis. This video is for the game between the Buffalo Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This game will be played at Heinz Field. Pittsburgh coming in with a record of 2-6 off of a loss 55-31 versus New England, in which they let up the most points for a single game in Steelers history. And the Bills coming off of a disappointing 23-13 loss at home against Kansas City, one where Jeff Toole got the start, turnovers cost them in that game, and they drop a game that, let's be real, they very easily could have won at home versus Kansas City. But this week for the Bills, it looks as though it'll be E.J. Manuel or Thad Lewis that'll get the start. E.J. Manuel has been cleared to play. It looks like he'll practice fully this week. It'll be the Doug Marrone and that coaching staff. It'll be their decision on whether they start Manuel or not. Whether they start Thad Lewis or E.J. Manuel, if you look at how Dick LeBeau's defense has played this year, from a defensive point of view, they've played very well against younger quarterbacks. Even the games they've lost, you look at the stats. Week 1 against Jake Locker, they held him to 125 yards passing. When they beat the Jets, they forced Geno Smith into a lot of turnovers. Also with Terrell Pryor, I mean, they had that one big run. He had that one big run at the beginning of the game. Did very little from there on out. So this Steelers pass defense, I know they let up all the pass yards to Tom Brady last week, but I don't think this Buffalo offense is really comparable at this point, especially with an E.J. Manuel who's missed about a month, or a Thad Lewis to that New England passing attack. So Pittsburgh only allows about 210 yards through the air, so I worry about Buffalo's ability to certainly pass the ball on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh doesn't turn the other team over a lot, though, which I think is a cause for concern for their defense. And also, they have trouble stopping the run, which against Buffalo, who averages over 140 yards a game on the ground, that could be a serious problem here for the Steelers because they average giving up over 130 yards on the ground. So that matchup definitely favors the Bills. On the flip side, the Steelers' passing offense has been showing signs here the last couple of weeks. Roethlisberger threw for 400 yards last week, 275 the week before against the Raiders. Now he has a Bills pass defense coming in that, although they were opportunistic and forced interceptions earlier in the year, they've been having trouble lately here and have been giving up a decent amount of yards via the pass game as a whole this year. So I look for Roethlisberger to be able to exploit that. Le'Veon Bell had maybe his best all-around game, yardage-wise, versus New England, over 75 yards rushing, over 40 yards receiving. We'll see. I think we'll see his role expand here as we go on. That Pittsburgh defense, again, they haven't really forced the turnovers you're used to seeing, okay? But can they force turnovers against these inexperienced quarterbacks? I think they'll be able to. I think the Buffalo defense, though, is going to do a good job in the running game against, would you ever think you'd see a Pittsburgh team that would only average about 75 yards a game on the ground? I mean, their line has been atrocious. I think Buffalo is going to be able to get to Roethlisberger a decent amount. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. I just think in the end, I think this Pittsburgh team is going to come in and they're just going to throw the ball all over the lot. I think they're going to have success with that early. So I think that's going to sort of mitigate the ability for the Bills to really establish a ground game as much as they want to. Okay, so I look for this game to be one of those games where the Bills have a high yards per carry average, but maybe don't get those number of carries they need to fully establish it. And I think Pittsburgh's able to force some turnovers on these inexperienced quarterbacks, whether it's Manuel or Lewis. I like Pittsburgh on the heels of mainly, this is a pick, that I'm really going with Roethlisberger here. Pittsburgh minus 3.5 at home versus the Bills. Guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at SNewsAnalysis. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I preview and recap every game, every week, and I'm always talking the news of the day in the NFL. So be sure to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.